quite possible that because punk enabled women to be strong and dynamic and self-determined, it gave men the freedom to show their more vulnerable side and be weaker.
Keep away, don't touch me, 'cause my love lies live, 'cause my love live.
I don't think punk did much to challenge male sexual identity or image. I never saw much evidence of that myself anyway. And a lot of those male punks were just the same as any other rock musicians, into the power of being on the stage and thrashing out loud music and to some extent intimidating the audience. And some of the men in the audience were like that as well.
It looked very violent, but I think underneath we were all big softies. Johnny was a softie.
So I do believe that punk allowed men to express vulnerability. It was the first time I ever saw men cry. I mean, they were on speed comes downs, but yeah, I formed close male friendships that I still have today from punk, and up until that point I was petrified of men.
Ever fall in love with someone, ever fallen in love with someone, ever fallen in love with someone you should have fallen in love with.
I think it opened things up for everybody, especially, at that time, as I say, being at that difficult age, to suddenly find something that wasn't about restraining yourself.
Punk was the liberator for a lot of people, men and women, and definitely also enabled men to get in touch with other sides of themselves. But for women, it was absolutely the bomb, in a positive sense, because the whole ethic of it, which was to do it yourself, anybody could do it. It removed all that mystique. Music, for example, was no longer, a mystical male preserve, but people like Susie Sue could just jump up on stage and extemporize the Lord's Prayer and be a star wearing a corset. And that was the spirit of the times. And I think women wouldn't have even dared to, because the conditioning was so oppressive that playing the guitar was something your boyfriend did.
I think punks thought the feminist label was too worthy and they didn't want to associate themselves with any kind of organised movement like that. But in actual fact, the lyrics they were coming out with were very challenging, and when the Slits brought out their LP, had songs on it like Typical Girls and Love and Romance, which showed that they were questioning the sort of messages which we've been fed through the, Jackie comics and that sort of stuff.
When punk started, my whole perception of music changed. It was like playing the guitar was no longer going to be, guitar solo and all that. And it just like I could play chords and everything, but when punk came out, it was almost like I didn't have to be really good because I wasn't really good,
If you already know what you are from the beginning, then for the day one, then something like that can help you stay strong.
Tonight I did a terrible thing, I don't know why, come over me, pretending I was so happy, forgetting that you know me. Orgasm addict.
I remember in '77, around Manchester, they had all of these posters up for Orgasm Addict.
Orgasm addict.
Ever since then, I really liked them. Whenever they were on Top of the Pops and they were in their little M&S jumpers, and he was so camp.
Orgasm addict.
I wanted to have a go myself to express how I felt about being a gay man. And why not? Why not be able to sing about it in the same way that the Beatles sang about Michelle?
The time we open the capsule, everything went switch.
There were aspects of punk that directly influenced my work in that one thing that seemed very important was the idea that the spirit was more important than the technique. Also, just the sheer drive of the music is something that I've translated into dance. It's the foundation of everything I do, but I still see it as such a broad thing. It was never restrictive, and so I think it was really the start for many different things. It's kind of branched out in so many different ways.
Say, where is the love? So why do we die?
Because I went through the punk thing, I think people should be cool about their sexuality and my sexuality, because I dealt with mine.
Punk did change the music industry and it did change the music press, but only for a short while. It frightened both the industry and the press. But with its lack of commercial success, the fear went away. All the people that we thought we were going to get rid of just stayed quiet for a little while, and then when all the shit had died down, they all crawled back and put the carpet slippers on and carried on as normal.
Having worked in 3 different industries, I was very disappointed that the music industry was exactly the same as the other 2. That it's as conventional, right-wing, and as homophobic and even racist as any other conservative profession I've worked in.
I think more so than ever now the music industry is like suffering from homophobia as well. I think you have to be a white, pretty straight boy to hit the charts.
Rock against homophobia.
A Channel 4 guide to the legal rights of lesbians and gay men in Europe is being prepared and will be ready before the end of the series. If you'd like to reserve a copy, send a cheque or postal order for £2, payable to Channel 4 to Out on Tuesday, PO Box 4000, London W3 6XJ or Glasgow G12 9JQ.